everyone. Welcome back to Fish Hunt Northwest. We're here in Finn's Bistro in Issaquah, Washington with the owner and chef, Jeff Maxfield.
Thank you. Welcome.
Yes.
We are going to cook some halibut today.
Oh, I was wondering.
Yeah. Fresh halibut. You know, spring is always that highly anticipated time of the year when we start to get really great fresh local fish back. You know, halibut's one of those things that, you know, frozen's just not what it's like when you have a fresh piece of fish. And you know, we're always excited in restaurants that, you know, there's always this kind of build up and anticipation when fresh halibut's going to happen. And we're going to do a really great presentation of it today that, you know, takes into consideration that it is such a delicate, mild flavored fish, but it's versatile too. So you can, you know, we're going to do a real nice take on an aioli, which is pretty much a fancy mayonnaise. Yep.
Fancy.
With a bunch of herbs. So we've got basil, we've got mint, we've got parsley, a little bit of green onion, and then we're going to serve it alongside of a quinoa tabbouleh salad that we've got a really great recipe for. So,
okay, sounds great.
To start, you know, this is one of those real simple ones. You can cook that halibut. You know, whether you want to put it on your grill, in a pan, cast iron skillet, on your Traeger, pellet smoker, whatever you've got. You know, this is a great opportunity. We're going to just use a pan here because it's nice and easy, and I like that that kind of hard sear on the fish that gives it that kind of nice
then
browning.
With the cast iron, you can just go straight to the oven with it.
Straight in the oven. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So a little bit of neutral oil here. This is just canola oil. I'm using a really highly seasoned cast iron pan here that was my grandmother's, and it fries eggs really well too. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of our signature seasoning.
Your seasoning.
Yep.
Finn's Bistro.
Finn's Bistro, yeah. It actually, before we bought this restaurant, I used to call it Chub Rub. I don't know why. It just kind of it rang. But so as this pan's smoking a little bit here, you want to make sure, always when searing fish, the hotter the pan, the better. Because what happens is if you don't have a highly seasoned pan or something that's non-stick, once you stick that fish to it, it's almost impossible to get out and have it look pretty at the end of it.
Okay.
You know, you might as well have fish tacos at that point. All right.
Which are good too.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah.
And so a nice little easy way to tell if it's getting hot is just kind of dip the corner of it in there.
There you go.
And there we go. Always when you have enough oil in there like that, start the fish close to you and drop it away from you so any of that oil doesn't splatter onto you.
Yep.
All right. So as we'll sear that a little bit, I'm going to turn the heat down just a tad.
Okay.
And touch more seasoning right over the top. And we'll give that a minute or so on top of the stove, and then we'll finish it in the oven. So we've got a couple different ingredients here for our aioli. One is green onion. You can, you know, this is a great opportunity to use the white parts of the green onion too. Okay. You know, if you've got some saved up from something else where you just needed the greens, this works just fine.
Yeah.
So we'll do a little bit of our green onion. All right, we've got some fresh dill, fresh basil, and a little bit of fresh Italian parsley. All right, and all we're gonna do, and how's this looking over here?
Looking good.
All right, so if it, you see it lifts up there nicely. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna continue to cook it on that same side in the oven. And what that's going to do is it's going to get a nice kind of crust on it, which gives you that presentation that we always look for.
Okay, so you don't cook on both sides. You don't.
Nope, I'll just, and typically when I pull it out of the oven, I'll flip it over in the pan just so that it, you know, kind of sears that bottom side. But we want that nice hard kind of sear on the top. It gives it a little bit of a texture, and it, you know, gives it almost that little kind of crunch.
Well, that says what I'm doing wrong.
All right. All right, so we're just going to take the stems off of our parsley. We've got, you know, and you can use curly parsley, you know, works just fine too.
Well, a lot of people are doing gardens now.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's been trying to kill some time in their homes.
Exactly, exactly. This is a great way to use those herbs. You know, this is a real kind of basic mayonnaise recipe that works great. You know, you can, if you just want really great mayo to throw in a burger, just omit the herbs, and this is it. You know, you can add a little bit of lemon juice at the end, and it's perfect. Young dill, don't be too concerned about, you know, stems. I obviously leave the big stems. You don't want those in the sauce.
Right.
But everything else, these small little ones aren't too bad. All right.
Those smell so good together.
Doesn't it smell good? Yeah. And so all we're going to do is we're going to just do a rough chop. This doesn't, you know, have to.
Okay.
All we're looking to do is essentially make it so that our immersion blender that we've got here is going to finish the puree process for us. So we'll get all that in there. I like to put a little bit of salt. All that does is help, you know, kind of break everything down as that immersion blender is working there.
Okay.
And we've got some eggs. So a couple different ways you can separate eggs. You know, obviously right through shell
Old
like
style,
that.
just
that's
like
the perfect way to do it.
That's what I do.
Or if you've got to do, you know, sometimes 300 of them, which I just, you know, you do it right through your hands and let that white fall through.
Well, there you go.
Pop it right in.
True chef right there, Missy.
That's right. You can always, they do sell pasteurized egg yolk, so, you know, if you're concerned with having egg yolk, honestly, I'm not concerned with eating raw egg yolks. You're putting enough vinegar and things in there that anything that's harmful in there that might hurt you, it's gonna be gone by the time you're using this.
Yeah.
So a little bit of vinegar. This is champagne vinegar. You know, if you're gonna do, I'd use any white vinegar, just not distilled white vinegar. That's got a really kind of strong flavor. So white wine vinegar, champagne vinegar. You know, great thing about grocery stores these days is their vinegar aisle
is
got everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, rice wine vinegar works really well. It's a little bit sweeter, but you know, it works really well for this application. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our immersion blender.
This blender is...
This is a stick blender. This is an awesome piece of equipment that this comes off, goes right in your dishwasher. You know, you wrap the cord up and you throw it in a drawer. If you can't find one of these, you know, they sell them in a lot of the different box stores around. If you don't have one of these, a normal blender will work. You know, just make sure you empty your margaritas out first. And then, if not...
And wash it really well.
Yeah, and a food processor works really well too. So we're going to just kind of break this down a little bit. All right, and you just want to make sure that you've got something with high enough sides, because as we start to throw in our oil or drizzle our oil in, this is a little more vinegar here, as we start to drizzle our oil in, what happens is this stuff will start kind of spraying up on the side, and
spraying up on
you're going to end up on your ceiling and all over the place. All right, so I'm going to crank the volume up a little bit more here.
Okay.
And we'll start moving this around. There's a way to do this by hand, but it just takes a lot longer.
A lot longer, yeah.
So we'll start drizzling this in slowly.
And you just drizzle that because it's...
Yep. We're going to drizzle it in super slow, and what that does is it helps to emulsify our egg and the oil. So now that we've got a little bit in here, I'm going to run it at an angle, so I just threw a little towel under there. Okay. So it kind of helps to bring everything down and continue to drizzle it in. Early on in my career, this was a thing that, you know, making holiday sauce for brunch every morning. You know, you had your chef over the corner of you with a hot bucket of clarified butter, and you're whisking, you know, and you're standing over a steam table usually, and, you know, he's pouring the butter in, and he's like, whip harder, and then, you know, it's a 10-15 minute process.
Oh, boy.
By the time you're done making the hollandaise, you haven't even cooked any eggs that day, and your arms are just jelly, so. All right, and you can see it starts to thicken up a little bit here. And the color is just incredible. It's got that real
nice.
You know, light green color. And the idea is we don't want it real thick like mayonnaise, right?
Okay.
We want it to, you know, be sauce-like.
To be able to drizzle over the fish.
And looks like we're coming together here. And the key is to go slow. If you go fast, it's going to separate on you and you start all over again.
So how much oil do you think that was?
What's that?
How much oil do you think that was?
That was, for every egg yolk by science can suspend about 4 ounces of oil.
Okay.
So 2 yolks and typically an egg, a standard egg in the grocery store, is about 2 ounces. It's about an ounce of yolk and an ounce of the white. So,
okay.
And that's a fluid ounce. And so then what you do is, 4 ounces or so will suspend. So that was 2 egg yolks. It's about 8 ounces. It's about a cup.
Okay.
All right. So I'll just move this out of the way.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. And so I'm going to pull this halibut out while we're talking, just so we don't overcook it.
Okay. Hot pan.
All right. And so you can see now it's got that nice crust already. And we're pretty much 3/4 of the way cooked. So now all we do, get your spatula underneath them, release it, and flip it over. And so what that's going to do is just kind of finish the cooking. Look at that.
Perfect.
So that nice, I like a little bit of color on fish, and
yes.
And certainly something with the fat content like that, it's really nice to kind of get that char on there.
Yeah.
So the last thing we always do, we always want to taste, make
Your
sure
sauce.
before we put it on. I didn't add really much salt to this,
No.
so we're going to just taste it, make sure that everything else is good.
It's good.
Fantastic.
All right.
All right. And so what I like to serve this with, especially in the spring, summer months, halibut, is great all summer long. It's a nice dish. Eat out on the back porch. It's something that I think is meant to celebrate with light salads, things like that. I've got a recipe that's up that has it's a tabbouleh salad, which is a Middle Eastern kind of a grain salad, sometimes made with couscous. We made it with quinoa.
Okay.
Quinoa is one of those ancient grains that's one of the kind of the superfoods that you should always have in your diet. Super easy to cook. The 2-cup recipe takes 20 minutes, if that, to cook the quinoa.
Okay.
And then you just drain it, cool it down. We toss it with a little bit of fresh lemon juice, parsley, cucumber, and those cherry tomatoes that are going to be popping off your vines here soon. So
looks amazing. It looks so fresh
it
light.
really is. Yeah, it's light and it's good for you. And if we're eating fish that's freshly caught, healthy for you, might as well serve it with something healthy, right?
Yes.
Because there's always those times you want to have a little bit of fried fish too, but this might not be one of those times. All right, so I'll bring that fish right over here.
Okay. And I'll get out of the way of the hot pan.
All right. So we'll use this one here. That's got a nice color to it.
Yes, it does.
Okay, if you're concerned about how we do it in the restaurant too, oftentimes is when you've got oil in the pan, because you notice I didn't drain any of the oil off before it went in the oven. What we oftentimes do is just bring it to a towel first, paper towel works, just to get any of that extra oil off
a little
there.
bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And place that right over the top. And it's okay if it cracks like that; it's no big deal, because that's the beauty of having a sauce, right? You
Yes.
just cover it up with
there
the
you go.
sauce. All right. And so again. A little bit of the sauce on the fish. You can drizzle a bit more around the plate. So if we were to say, hey, let's put a little bit of sauce right there and cover up that crack.
Okay.
And then you could drizzle more around the plate if you like, or you can serve it on the side.
Okay.
All right.
Looks good to me.
Here we've got our pan-seared halibut with spring herb aioli and a quinoa tabbouleh.
Yeah. So while we dig in, we're going to throw it back to you guys in the studio.